What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Optimize You. I'm Alex. I'm coming at you here with another episode of Overcoming Myself, which is just the weekly Thursday episode that I come at you with just on what I'm doing to get better, to get to that next level, to overcome myself. And as always, we're always trying to help you optimize every single area of your life: health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, identity, literally everything. That's what Matt and I's goal is with this podcast, is to help you with whatever you're struggling with in those areas so that you can become a better version of yourself and constantly strive towards that full potential. So hopefully we're able to do that for you. And I got a little shift this week. So as I've talked about briefly on the podcast, honestly I didn't talk about this a ton, even on my content, anything like that, is that I've been doing 75 hard. And so I was on day 66 and I failed. And so came out of nowhere, I'll be honest with you. Definitely a little bit different in how I failed on this, where you'd think that it was, did you fuck up and miss a workout? Or did you, I think a lot of people have failed late in the game with 75 hard, forgetting to take their progress picture, right? And I had all this stuff done. I actually had everything done for the day and I ended up binging. So I made a choice that now I see is, very not the best choice. And it really, rung even more true after I went through the process. But I had this idea to get some edibles for the first time in 2 years. I've been sober from alcohol for over 2 years, like marijuana and stuff like that. Year and a half-ish, I haven't had anything, but I was for some reason, today, it felt like an amazing idea. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get some and I'm going to take some. And it was all good for a while. I got a ton of work done that day. And then I just kind of sat there and I was chilling. And then it ended up leading, just over the course of the night, led to a binge. And then I was like, fuck. I got 66 days in to this 75-day challenge, put in tons of work, got a lot better. But really what I want to talk about today is just the after effects. So I made a mistake, right? I messed up. I had a failure. I had a minor speed bump. And, I let it really fall into that next day. And I kind of let myself spiral out of control that next day. And I was sulking and I was down. I was like, fuck, come on, we can't do anything, right? All of those beliefs and those stories come up to the surface. And it really made me realize, a few things, is that a lot of the stuff, a lot of these failures, so to speak, in my life have been the same, right? It's the same pattern of, it happens. And then I'm just distraught, just really frustrated by it, and just let it ruin another day or two, right? And I talk about getting right back on it, which with these minor things I'm really good at, but with these big things, which this isn't necessarily even that big, right? It's just one day that, like I said, I got everything done. I just fucked up and I ate and I went crazy and ended up binging. And so shit happens. And I'm trying to learn from it and just taper my expectations. And, I have this underlying need to be perfect, which, I don't confront a lot, but this allowed me to confront that and just realize that, what, I gotta just really understand that I have tons of years to figure this out. I think that some of it for me, as I explored the feeling a little bit more, is just this whole feeling of that, I need to figure shit out as quick as possible. And I need to figure out exactly what I want to do and exactly, who I want to help and how I want to help them. And, this underlying just need to get shit figured out. And God, the thought of why can't I just be happy? I've always wanted to just be happy and fulfilled all the time, when really that's an unrealistic expectation as well. It's not, I think that we can be in a state of happiness most of the time, if we can get ourselves into it. And I've been trying to train myself into that state as well, and do other things like detaching, letting go, really accepting all things. But, sometimes these events and these mistakes and these failures, they can kind of escalate it. And, it really made me realize that perfection, the need to be perfect and the need to do a lot of things are still there, and that I can constantly get better with all of this stuff. And so I'm pushing. Coco giving a nice little thing there, but I'm pushing to constantly get better, right? I'm pushing, and I'm just this wake up call of really just looking at these expectations that I have and doing my best to pick them apart, and doing my best to understand that I have like 20, 30 years to figure this shit out. Like most people, it takes them so long to figure it out. Like I'm almost 30. Like what makes me think that I should have all my shit together and that I should have, everything figured out. And so I'm just going to taper back those expectations. I'm going to work my ass off still, but I'm just going to understand that like, it doesn't all have to happen every day, right? We don't always need to be perfect with things. We can do our best and we can have high standards, but if our standards are perfect, we're always going to end up disappointed. We're always going to end up frustrated. We're always going to allow one failure to turn into, an extra day or two, or maybe a week, 2 weeks, all that stuff. And so if we can understand, we don't need to be perfect. We don't have to have it figured out. We can make mistakes, mistakes and challenges and problems and failures is really what ends up leading to more success and more growth. And I'm just trying to find that underlying thing here of how I can use this opportunity and use this failure to help me grow and help me move towards a better version of myself, just an upgraded version, and help me reach more of my true full potential. And so I'm really striving towards that. And I'm really just trying to continually get my mind back into a really good spot so that I can just do a better job and continue making an impact out there with this podcast, with my other podcast, with my content, with my Facebook group, all that stuff, with my clients, everything, right? Like that's my goal, is to really just continue finding where I fit in and what really inspires me, and just continue driving and taking action towards that. And who knows what's on the other side. But I know that I do get a little bit better every day. We have these speed bumps here and there. There's 365 days in the year, and it's unrealistic to think that all of them are going to be really good. And so I strung together a ton of amazing days in a row. There's one bad blimp of even, just a bad hour or two right in there. It's kind of tough. It's easy to dwell on that in the moment and be like, fuck, like I was so close, right? I had it in my grasp. But it's a lot easier, I think, like once you take a step back and you slow down, you're like, you know what? There's a lot I can learn from this. It's one day, not a big deal. Let's get back on it. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep trying to do our best. And let's just keep trying to get better every day. So hopefully this has been good. Hopefully this has been helpful. Just kind of see under the curtain, or behind the curtain, under the hood of just a failure in my life. And hopefully it can help you with dealing with some of your future failures, and also help you just understand where expectations play into this whole role, and how, if we get rid of those expectations of being perfect and that all conditions are going to be perfect and we have to be perfect to be successful, then we're going to be a lot better off. We're going to handle failure a lot better. We're going to be able to move forward. So thank you so much for listening or watching. I appreciate you. If you like this, make sure you like, subscribe, you rate us, you share it with a friend if it was helpful. And, hope you have a good rest of the day, and I'll be talking to you soon.